November for me has always been a month where it seems like it's a time in between seasons, although it isn't. It's very much in winter. But to me, it seems like this is a month that's kind of still reeling from fall, and we still have the harvest of fall, which we can now enjoy. And it's looking forward towards some bleakness that we normally associate with winter and the very darker days that are to come. I mean, already the days have started to shorten. We have less daylight, and okay, right now today, of course, is a really nice sunny day, bright day. So nothing to complain about here, especially in the southern part of Europe. But mainly November has always signified also that change in the garden when, the leaves finally fall. So up till now, it's always been a time when there is a lot of color, and we are really very excited. The kids were when they were young, and to put all the leaves together in one heap for them to jump in and to really get excited. And November seems to be the time when there is one gush of wind that comes, or one storm. That's Coco, and everything just falls. So it signifies that turning moment. And for me, and for my garden here particularly, because this is the first years, right, that I'm doing the gardening in the Mediterranean, it's a little bit different. It's more subtle, like everything here is, except for the heat. That's anything but subtle. But the gardening year, the way I know it from northern Europe, is very different. And so November right now brought in a lot of rains, which was very, very welcome to the garden. It was something we badly needed, and you could see that the especially in the olive tree. And now the olive tree has this phenomena, and I think it's great. It just shows how intelligent plants actually are. Is the leaves, they turn inwards if it is too dry, to just retain the moisture and not have a lot of moisture loss during summer when the sun's heat is just very strong. And now with the rains, they opened up again, because now they can absorb also the moisture from the air, not just from the soil. So November, with all the rain that we had, and it has been very humid, and it has been cool. People do complain about the cold, so do I, but most of the time it is unusual for this region to have that low temperature at this time of the year. But nevertheless, everything is changing. We are having a change in the global climate as well. So I suppose that's just a part of it, or it's just a natural process, and it just happens that once in a while, of course, temperatures can be different from what normally is expected. What November has done to the garden is that it has rejuvenated, in a way, for a short time, because we had the drought and the really dry weather of summer, which completely exhausted the plants. And now we had the rain, so the plants had a chance to breathe again. That's almost what it seems like. So when I go through the garden, I can almost actually hear them breathe, sighs of relief, or just for them to just sigh it out, just to have this the humidity that they needed to survive. But I know that this is going to last for a relatively short time, because now from December and January it's going to actually get cooler and colder, and some of the shrubs are going to lose their leaves. Some of the trees are also going to lose their leaves. That's just the natural process that's going to happen before spring comes again. So it's always this ebb and flow, this cycle of birth, death, rebirth, and one can really observe this most magnificently in the garden, most profoundly actually in the garden. And somehow along with my plants and everything that's happening in the garden, I feel very depleted too. I feel like depleted. I just feel really exhausted. And of course I could reflect and I could go back and try to find reasons why it is the way it is, but I don't think that's of the paramount importance. Maybe it's just to accept the fact that this is just a natural rhythm, a natural procedure, and also to have a certain amount of forgiveness. I find this especially difficult to do, and so this is something I would like to cultivate. Forgiveness, not just for others, because more often than not we are very harsh and critical about ourselves and what we do. So the moment I feel tired and exhausted, I keep telling myself that maybe it's just because I'm lazy, maybe it's just because I'm complaining where there's nothing to complain about, and I should look at the bright things and the great things and the happy things, which of course they're all true. They're all true, and I do have to do that as well. But also to have a certain softness about it, and this is what I mean by forgiveness, is to also be able to forgive oneself, to forgive myself for feeling depletion. It's just a natural process. You can't always be at the height of your activity. You can't always be doing things. You cannot always be producing and be active and always be in the doing mode. And so I was thinking, coming back to the olive tree, this is a very interesting tree, and the first time that I'm really observing what it does. And then I realized that in moments of depletion, when it needed the moisture and it didn't have enough, all that it did was fold the leaves in and waited, because it knew that this, just like any other phase, is going to pass. And what a lesson that is for us, because no matter what happens, these are all phases, and they're all going to pass, because everything is always in motion. Nothing is static, nothing is standing still, even though it might seem like that sometimes. And then I reflected on the way the olive tree is doing that, is just to turn inward. And I thought, okay, what are the tools that I have in my yogic toolbox? So all the lessons that I have learned from my regular yoga practice. And one of the things, of course, that I keep practicing on the mat, and now I'm going to translate it off the mat as well, is to really finding this center, this sthira, which is the midpoint, the stillness. And we do that a lot, and I used to do this automatically on the mat. So just to find that place, that core, the line, So when you practice yoga, you're basically practicing around the spinal cord, right? Because that is the center of the body. Now, when there are asanas where you are going out, so in the sense of let us say in the posture of the warrior, or the warrior 1 or warrior 2, you're splaying out in a way, but you still you don't just go randomly or jerk yourself into any posture just because you can, because obviously you can. If you do practice enough, long enough, then obviously you can get into any posture, any position that you have practiced. But the point is not that. The point is how you do that and from where you're coming, right? So the point is to come from the center. So even though you are expanding and going out of your body, you're doing it from the spine, from the center, from the core. And this is what I thought of, because that's when the awareness came. That's when it really hit me that, all right, so in moments when I have to do something that is expanding, that's the expansion of me still has to come from the center of me, so still has to be grounded in that center. And so especially now that I feel exhausted and really tired from whatever, from circumstances, from events, from the whole year, from COVID, etc. It doesn't matter. How can I still navigate through this? And I'm going to do it like the way the olive tree does it. So, which means to come back again, to look inward, and to see where can I find my center, where can I find my sthira, and move from there, because that is the place of integrity. Everything else is just outside. Everything else is not coming from a center. It's not coming from within. And each of us have to find this on our own. So it doesn't matter how many yoga teachers we have and how many gurus we have and how many wise people. They all mean well, of course, and they're all there for guidance, which is a great thing. Otherwise we wouldn't really know where to go. But the work, the real work, has to be done by each and every one of us individually, and we, because it's our uniqueness, it's the uniqueness of us that determine how we are going to deal with situations. So there might be pointers, there might be ways, and I can tell you, okay, go inward, but you need to figure out for yourself. But this was something that that struck me from the yoga practices that I do, that maybe it's time to find it there. Now, how do I translate it? What does that actually really mean? And I thought a good place to start is, of course, when I'm going to practice on my mat, like to be present, to become aware of this center, to become aware of how I'm moving, to become aware that especially in moments when I don't feel 100% myself, when I feel like either something is missing or something is not there, or maybe I need a little bit more, instead of trying to look for it outside, maybe it's time to look for it inside, because the answers are always there. Every problem has its solution with it. So translating the practical aspects of it for me would be to practice with more awareness, more and more awareness, to drink a cup of tea, or 2 or 3. Eckhart Tolle, this spiritual master, talks about being in nature. He talks about just sitting with a tree to observe the stillness of the tree, and very soon that stillness is going to become a part of us. And I think there is a lot to say in that. So just to be with the plants, just to be outside, just to be in the forest, and always with this awareness, always with this presence. Maybe that is all that we need to come back again, to center ourselves again. So that's how I think I'm going to navigate the next couple of days, and be curious to hear what you have to say. So please share your thoughts, and see you next time. Bye bye.